Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a Veve Omi update video, along with Earth 2 as well. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. And become a member, a lot of perks, and then wraithx.eth domain name. Speaking of wraithx, we have some Earth 2 stuff to go over. So there was an announcement this morning on Earth 2 saying 17 May 2023, Sydney, Australia. Before civilians are deployed to our Stage 2 pre-production server, we would like to provide an update to our Earth 2 community about how new Civilians XP and Raid Commander auto-target system will function. We would also like to point out that Red Energy Sustenance, Civilians XP, and the expanded Raid Commander auto-target system are new expansions to the original Civilians concept, which subsequently caused a delay on the previously scheduled release on the initial Civilian system. These new systems are deep and intricate, and I'd like to take a moment to thank our back-end developers, front-end developers, game designers, QA, UI, UX team, and others who have managed to design the mechanics, design the interface, and implement the back-end code and connect the front end and run initial quality assurance checks, all in a record time considering how complicated these new additional expansions are and how they need to be managed and merged into the original concept, said Shane Isaac, founder of Earth 2. He goes on to say the newly introduced game mechanics help for a more robust game loop, reward players who progress with better skilled and better functioning civilians, allow raid commanders to target multiple properties, introduced an early version of sustenance concept which ties back to direct player activity, provides new strategic play, and very important, it allows us to create, design, and develop systems that we can test for planned adoption in other parts of the ecosystem. Also, while I'm reading that, the market is going absolutely haywire. If you can't see, if you're just listening, I would say 6 or 7 times per second, something is happening. Someone is claiming ether, someone is getting a side raid out, someone is raiding, something is buying land, someone's selling it. Absolutely bananas. Again, every single second. Y'all know me. I'm a big Veve fan. I have most of my funds in Omi and Veve. The Veve market has over 8.5 million NFTs. That is not even as active as Earth 2's market right now. It's freaking insane. Speaking of which, we do have Pacey from Shun City saying, civilian skins are incoming. Looks like there are a set for one of the first editions. It would be a cool way for Earth 2 to monetize without it being a pay-to-win mechanic as well. Changing a civilian skin will seem weird though, ha ha ha. Also, they have wrote Space Forge instead of Space Force. So I think that's what they're going to call their military, or at least one of the militaries in Earth 2 is going to be the Space Forge instead of the Space Force. If you do take a look, here is the actual skin that he was talking about. This is a level 6 raid commander. And if you can't see it, it is a guy what appears to have a couple of medals on his chest. He may or may not have some robot arms because you can't actually see his skin. You see he's got gloves. You see he's got the hands look a little weird. And I'm not sure if the boots, if he's a pilot, he might have just taken off his legs. They do that in Star Fox because if you have, the thought was like 50, 60 years ago that if you, oh, hey, what happens when you have a bunch of G-forces? The heart has a hard time bringing the blood back from your feet to your heart and to the rest of your vital organs. So they chopped it off 6 inches below the knee. And then that's how they did the flying. Pilots had that. Anyway, moving on. Past that, you see that civilians, Tony Joseph asked, are civilians live on the production environment? If yes, where to find this feature? And Dave Kirby had gone on and answered, not even the test server yet, expected there before the end of this month, in a week or two, with testing probably. And also you see the ability is a raid commander. He's the first arrondissement of Paris, France, first edition, Space Forge, and that's all the pertinent information on there. So like I said, really cool, really dope, absolutely love it. And now on to some Veve news. I did buy another million Omi, bringing me up to 169 million Omi. Everyone comment nice down below for the 69. Very excited about that. I am going to have to take a break for a little while, just not because I want to, but it's just because I've bought a bunch of, I think I've spent like 6 or 7 grand in the last couple weeks. Money that I kind of had a little bit, but definitely don't have any more. I have a bunch of other things that I have to do. I have to pay rent. I have to do a bunch of other things. And then there's also a couple of Veve things that I want this weekend. We finally got announced that it was what the Star Wars drops were officially. They were Admiral Akbar, who is 1,983 mints. And then we also have the Rancor. The Rancor is animated with sound. It looks amazing. It sounds absolute boss. And then you do have Jabba the Hutt, I believe, as the uncommon. I think there's 4,883 of him. And there are quite a bit more of these drops in the world of Luke Skywalker. And you think, oh, how is this going to sell out? Well, the Luke Skywalker in general, all of his mints combined were more mints than Jabba the Hutt. All of his mints combined were more mints than Admiral Akbar or the Rancor, etc., etc. So if this does sell out, it's going to be over $500,000 for Veve in one day. And we're still on that speculation for what it could be for Sunday. I don't think they would have a major IP drop one day after a major IP drops, like Star Wars. So for everyone thinking that what we could potentially have coming this weekend, it is most likely going to be Sunday if it does drop. Again, if it doesn't drop, then we're going to have to wait another year for that. I think that would be a miss, not just for Veve, but for the particular license, whoever it is, that would be able to go and miss out on this revenue. Not just the revenue from the drop, but the revenue on the secondary market, which they would make probably almost as much, if not more, on the secondary market in the next year as they would on the drop. So they are missing out 2 times on that payday. You had a nice whale space this morning called Disney, Marvel, DC on Veve with Mr. MC1. You had me, myself. You had Dr. Rolex, you had Michael Campa, you had Queen Veve. You had everyone there. It was a who's who on the whale event. And, you know, there was some concerns that were addressed. You had Mr. MC1, Sanjay Bhaskaran, talk to Dr. Rolex and said, listen, man, you know, for a little while, man, I was still buying, but maybe I wasn't as excited. I would talk to Dr. Rolex, I think you, Randy, about my reservations. I said, but you know, come May 1st, they started rolling things out. They started having great licenses again. Everyone's having fun on the app again. So for what little concern there was for some people, or at least for some whales back in April, that is gone now. Every single whale I know is buying. And speaking of which, we have a quite a big whale that has entered the space again. Because you're a whale doesn't mean you're a whale in Veve and Omi. I've said this a couple times before. I'll say it again. We'll start off with Clever Jerk, who matching mints are insanely undervalued. There are very few people that have them, and even less that even try for them. The amount of people that try to get those are minuscule. The amount of people that have them, like I said, even less. Originally, when Clever Jerk, I had learned that he had the complete set of Vaders, number 66, as an execute order 66. Comment down below if you get the reference. That is that is one of the biggest memes. That is one of the biggest, most important numbers, the most important number in the Star Wars universe, because that's just what happens to be when Palpatine goes to all the clones, say, hey, execute order 66, meaning kill all the Jedi, turn on them, and follow your master, on the dark side. So when he got that, I was like, that is wild. That set, by itself should be $10,000-$15,000. And then I saw this morning that Clever Jerk had completed the set of Luke Skywalkers, all mint 66. And I was like, oh my heckin' goodness. The exact same thing. That set should be worth at least $30,000. Both of these sets together, like I said, $30,000, if not more. And that's in a bear market. You could have a whale come in the bull market and offer Clever Jerk $100K. And I still don't know if Clever Jerk would take it. Clever Jerk has a lot of Omi as well. But, $100,000 right now is a lot because you can buy a whole bunch of Omi with it. But in the future, when everyone has, tens of millions or $100 million, who's going to need $100K? Some of these just are invaluable and they'll get locked up, I think, forever. Comment down below if you get that reference. Anyway, so the whale that I was talking about does happen to be a friend of mine. He's actually my boss. I'm going to work for him. So outside of the ultra rare Luke Skywalker he got the other day, he happened to get the complete 100-year anniversary set for the Platinum Moments. You have Minnie Mouse, number 173. That's the first one he got. Then he got Dumbo, number 70. So he got a sub 100 of him. And then afterwards, we were really going on and on about the sub 100s, the major importance for him and all that jazz. And then he also decided to buy another $1,000 worth of Omi today. So he has now over 8 million, I think like 8.5 million Omi, which again, I know it doesn't sound like a lot. And is it, it's not a ton, but he just got in this a couple weeks ago. For him to get, over 8 million Omi, being able to complete a platinum set, all sub 100 except for Minnie, I think is really big. I think that's really exciting. Oh, he also happened to get giving him my love of the Marvel Mighties, a Bucky Barnes number 75. So that's really cool. He happened to get a Donald Duck number 64, which is really dope. And then he also had messaged me when he got a Mickey Platinum number 96. So again, really, really dope. The prices for these, I think the price for the Mickey was, I think, 10x the price of the floor. I think he got it for $359. The floor is like $34. $34 for a 100-year anniversary Mickey is stupid. I did message him. I was like, oh, hey, did you happen to go and buy a Veve logo? Because he does want one. We have been talking about it. He likes to buy little things here and there, a couple hundred here, 900 here, 1,000 there. He hasn't gone on and bought anything more than three figures, or more than $3,000 at one time. That was not him. So he is still due to buy one at some point. Also, this just in, Apple allows Axie Infinity crypto game on the App Store. And speaking of Apple, David and Dan, why some of y'all probably hear, depending on what put in the title, depending on what put in the thumbnail, David and Dan got interviewed this morning, or it was released this morning, and there's two major things I want to bring up. One major thing is David being asked, hey, how did you guys get all these licenses? What are some of the main ones? How'd you do it? And David says, yeah, we got a bunch of the major ones everyone knows about: Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Universal. And then he kind of pauses when he said Viacom and NBC. So I don't know if that one, so we have Viacom. If that wasn't known, we have that. I think with that we can get some Nickelodeon stuff. And then the other thing he said, is NBC. And I'm not 100% sure some of the stuff on NBC. I think Scrubs was on there. I think you can get a couple of things on there. Imagine getting a Turk and JD on the blockchain. I think that'd be really fun. Dr. Cox as well. So he paused that, and then he says, yeah, gaming as well. We just, we got Capcom and Ubisoft. Now, he said we just got. You could make the argument that David's very tired. His mind is pulled in a million different directions, and they just released Ubisoft, as part of the, those crazy rabbits that we have, the Rayman rabbits. And then we have Capcom, which, if you didn't know, they own Street Fighter. Street Fighter, their demo is this weekend. And do you want to know what happens in the storyline of Street Fighter? Well, not only is it a generational game, but the story of Street Fighter is that Ken loses all his money spending it on NFTs. I think it's very possible that Street Fighter could be the license that we get on Sunday, if we get it, if they all sign off on it, and oh God, I will spend so much money on that. I love Street Fighter. I think back in the day, YouTube had a Machinima show, and one of them was Street Fighter, and it was epic. It was so good. Comment down below if you've ever seen that. Anyway, the other thing was that the person that interviewed him was really good to interview, because he didn't know really anything about NFTs or AR and VR, and Dan had happened to say, yeah, with Apple doing their keynote on the 5th, and they're going on and they are showcasing their AR glasses. And he had said in that particular blurb, he said, yeah, it's really great for us because, you can layer stuff on top of reality. Imagine going and layering your Veve NFTs inside your room, and you'll be able to see it as if it's actually there. Now, most likely, I'm going to try to rein in some expectations here. Most likely he means that, in the future, could you imagine, and let's say like 3 or 5 years from now, you're able to have all of that seamlessly on Apple AR glasses, like the Veve app on there. Now, I think that the Veve app should be on there. It shouldn't be too hard to get on there. Like, Apple's going to want as many AR apps as they can. I think Beat Saber, anything that's on the Oculus Quest should be on the Apple glasses. I think Veve should also be on there as well, just because of the AR and VR capabilities. But again, it being working seamlessly like that, because again, on your phone, you put like one thing over here, one thing over there. It just takes some time. It doesn't work as seamless. It might not be the best thing to showcase. But if I can be a moon boy for a second, and if they show Veve at that Apple keynote, like, again, Dan might not have been hinting this, but let's just, appease me for a second here. Let me run with this. If you see a Veve NFT on that Apple showcase, on that keynote on June 5th, say goodbye to these prices. Not just the Veve NFTs, Omi, that is That would be one of the most bullish things I think that I could think of. Now, is that actually going to happen? Probably not. But if that does, again, Dan going and saying that and teasing that, I don't think he would have said or teased that unless it wouldn't happen eventually. Now, is it going to happen now? Probably not. I don't think the app is ready for it. But if it was, I mean, they have been making great strides and great improvements in that. But if that happens to go, there's going to be always going to be Veve YouTubers, but there's going to be Apple YouTubers that go and make videos about it and say, oh, hey, what's some good content that I can do? And they could go and people will pay $3,000 for that, for those AR glasses. They will use Beat Saber. They will use all these boxing games and they will use all the fun things in order to go and make videos out of. And if Veve's on there, they're going to go download Veve. They're going to go and buy some NFTs and they're going to put it on the app and they're going to make a video out of it. Apple boys are crazy. They're very similar to Tesla fanboys. They'll do anything for Elon. They will spend any amount of money. So yeah, that's the breakdown of some of David and Dan's interview this morning. Also, something else I really like is I keep missing out is auctions. There was a auction that ended this morning for the lights camera hijinks. It was the rare of the Oswald drop, and it had finished at $165, almost $166. I think the next cheapest one is like over $300. Sub 100s are great, auctions are great, and if you can time the auction, if you can go and win, you can wind up making a nice amount of money, or at least buying something extremely cheap, because not a lot of people pay attention. So that's a very good way to go and try to make a little cash. Yeah, the next cheapest is $400. Like you literally just saved yourself $200, $232. Well, speaking of matching sets, again, May the 4th be with you. Like May 4th is Star Wars Day. Death Bunny tweets, quote, "The Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us. It penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together." End quote. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And on that particular quote, he goes in and puts on a show of his May 4th, number 504 NFTs. He's only missing C-3PO in there, but he's got Obi-Wan, he's got Vader, he's got Luke, he's got both R2-D2s at 504. Just thought that was pretty heckin' cool. Oh, so Wraithax, as in Wraithax.eth domain name, has been a big supporter of mine for a long time, as everything this man does, you should do. Not financial advice, this is like human-to-human advice. He got into Axes way before it blew up, got into Earth 2, same as I did, way before it blew up, got into ETH domain names way before it blew up, and has gotten into Veve and Omi way before it's blowing up. And he posts a Snapchat or a super chat from before saying, "I'm excited for the Veve comic growth. I will own all of the comics, all of them." And again, he's got a bunch of Omi, he's got a bunch of Veve stuff. He's pretty big. If you don't listen to me, listen to that man. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow. Sleeping hat. Meow.